Welcome back, generals, to another video. Good. Previously, I have shown the game design committee voting topic here with all the information for the candidates that you can vote for and the voting process. Yeah. And I was thinking that maybe we do a ranking of the candidates from at least from my perspective. Like it's not like a ranking that is representative, like in definite terms. It's just the way I see it, ranking the candidates for the purpose of the game design job. Yeah. And so I don't know if I can publish this video now or after the voting, whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's see how it goes. It's also for me to see like how where I would put my vote to, because it's not yet clear to me who I vote. We have 5 votes to make, right? You can here make 5 choices, yeah. And so if you didn't vote yet, then maybe you shouldn't watch this video to be unbiased. Or you say you have no clue what to vote, then you could watch it, but then you have to keep in mind that like you're taking on my bias or my perspective, right? So but maybe your perspective is not overlapping with mine, then maybe the influence is not good. Yeah, I suggest you read through all these, all the candidate texts. Yeah, like I have presented in a previous video. Read through them all and pick the best candidate. Otherwise, we just consider this video to be for entertainment purposes. Yeah. Entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Although I expect that some people might say, I want to know the opinion of this guy and this guy and this guy, and then form my own opinion based on that, right? It's reasonable. Like if you trust someone's opinion, you might be inclined to follow their lead, right? So I'm very well aware that I could be shaping some opinions here, right? I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but like if everyone would share their opinions, then it would be fair. If just one guy would do it, then maybe not so fair. I don't know. I mean no harm. I say if you haven't voted yet, vote and then watch the video, yeah, for entertainment purposes. I think that's fair. Yeah, I haven't voted yet. Yeah, so I still have to do it. Okay, so so these are the candidates here, the 21 candidates. Yeah, and I have interacted with many of these people, so I do have some knowledge about people, and I have some expectations. Yeah, what these people, how they would perform. I can imagine. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm correct in what I think will happen. Like I could be wrong. And obviously there's always room for growth, right? So if someone is not that suitable now, it doesn't mean that this person can grow into a role and become, better in a certain skill, right? It's like if you do a drawing, yeah, and you're not a good drawer, but then you draw a bunch of pictures and then maybe you'll become very good at drawing pictures, right? So I did prepare already the tier list here. I did label it as game design competency ranking. Yeah, game design competency rating, at least to what I think. Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt again. This is my view on things. It's not the absolute truth to the matter. It's just my experience, and my experience is I've been working on patching the game for couple years now, since 2021. I've interacted with many people over the years, since 2005 in some cases. Yeah. I don't know all the candidates equally well, right? But there are some experiences. So at least I can say a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we should also have a wheel of names. Wheel of names. Let's do that. Wheel of names, random name picker, so that we pick the candidates at random. So let me take the guys. How do we copy them best? Oof, like this. And then we drop them in here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Maybe we need to put them into this first, and then we delete all the rest here, like this. I could have prepared this already before, but I forgot about that. Yeah. Otherwise, we could just go from the top to bottom, but maybe that's a bit too boring. Yeah. We want to have excitement. Yeah. It needs to be entertaining, top action. Yeah. Top action. We want to have a bit of fun, right? It shouldn't be too serious. Okay. So here we have all the candidates in the spinny wheel. Click to spin. Okay. So let's see. Let's spin the wheel. Let's see who is the first guy that we can judge in the competency. Looks like it's a maraca. Yeah, we have a winner, maraca. Okay, so then let's go to maraca again. Here, his text. So he did say that he's playing since 2009, competitive PvP. He did win the World Series tournament once. He did balance testing for 0-hour mods from 2015 to the present. So he does have experience in the field of balance and testing and designing. So yeah, maybe not designing, but testing, balance testing and playing. So he can judge how good or bad things are at a high level. And he says he's competent across many game formats. A lot of experience in balance testing, solid understanding of 0-hour, and he wants to make a 0-hour balance more modern. Whatever that means. It's not very specific, by helping identify and iron out core issues in game balance. Yeah, so he wants to focus mostly on game balancing. But to this, I have to say, and this probably applies to every candidate, game design is not just about balance. I think that's very important to note. And I'm not so sure if all the candidates are really aware about this. Game design is also about figuring out, like, let's say you have a game bug, like something that is really broken or some flawed design in the game that really breaks the way that you interact with something. Then and you address this, that how do you mitigate the ripple effects it has, or how do you redesign it in a way that it fits well into the established designs, right? Can you accurately judge like how something should be designed so it is that it's intuitive to use, that it's fun to use, that it's easy or let's say convenient to use, or that it is just feels natural. Like players would like the way something was designed for them, right? So it's not just about like how strong or how weak something is, but game design is a very broad topic. Like how do you, like in the end, everything about game design contributes to how fun something is. Can you enjoy the game? Game design is critical for this, not just game balance. Okay, but he does have experience, so that's very good. He's a very good player, so that's good. Now, as for like his communication skills, I would say he is probably most likely easy to talk to. Maybe sometimes he's a bit, how do you say, a bit confrontational, I would say, sometimes. But most of the time it's probably possible and easy with him to have a conversation and like a discussion, a productive discussion. That's my impression, that with him it is possible to have constructive discussions and discover certain things. And clearly, like, if he did this already, then this clearly has worked. So I think there is a good case to make that Maraka could be a really good candidate. Yeah, it is possible. He probably doesn't have like the understanding of how the game is actually set up and how to set it up himself, or like, I mean, like all the game designs, like how they are implemented. I mean, right? Like maybe he doesn't really understand like exactly how all these things interact with each other, and if you touch this, you maybe break this or stuff like this. Or yeah, but maybe he doesn't need all that. It's something that can be learned. It's not that difficult either, but maybe he already has knowledge about this, all the intricacies of the game. Maybe, I don't know about that. He doesn't say, right? So we can only assume. So I assume not, otherwise he would have mentioned it, that he has experience in modifying the game, right? He does not. So there's probably still many things he needs to learn. But yeah, I think he could be a pretty decent candidate. So if we translate that here into our tier list. So S is the creme de la creme, like really good, right? A, yeah, is also pretty solid. B, yeah, above average. C, average. And then down here, yeah, we get into the worst territory. Yeah, so certainly I would say with Maraka, here he is. Maraka is at least B, maybe A. I'm not yet sure. I would need to see in comparison to other guys here. Maybe he's even A. Yeah, but at least B. There we can say. Let me revisit later. I'm not so sure. A or B, somewhere in between there. Maybe A. I would have to talk a bit about the other guys first before I can make a better judgment or classification. But certainly not S tier. Certainly not S, because for this he would need to have demonstrated like really good. He would have needed to demonstrate something about like a report of some game design or some game design proposal. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Maybe he did that. Maybe there is such thing, but I don't know about it. It could be like hidden in some Discord servers that are private or that I don't know about, but I haven't seen him making a write-up or engaging in a bigger discussion about specifics, about some feature or some game design proposal where he put like big thoughts into how something is set up and implications of changing something back and forth. So I haven't seen this, but I would assume that he has done this if he has worked for 10 years, 11 years with mods. I think he he's working with ContraMod, which is a pretty popular mod, big one. No? Okay, so Maraka at least B, maybe even better. Let me revisit later. Yeah. Good. So let's get to the next one. So Maraka is removed. Yeah. Maybe I should also pull up some receipts. Yeah, sometimes maybe I would need to pull up some receipts if I can think of something, but I don't have anything prepared, so I'm just mostly judging from memory, from over the years. It's mostly just what I remember, right? And I think my brain works still, right? So it's okay for the most part. Yeah. I can also say that Maraka has never interacted with any of the work that we did in the last years at Super Hackers. He hasn't like interacted at all, and so yeah, that's not a great sign. So he wasn't proactive in that regard, but maybe he was just busy with his mod project. So he does have credentials in actually working on projects, so that's good. Yeah. So at least B a tier, but maybe A. I'm not fully aware. Okay, let's spin again for the next guy. Yeah, it is Mr. Relax. Mr. Relax. We have a winner. Mr. Relax. Okay. So Relax, he did write. Oh, this will be a long session going through all the candidates like that. So he's a map maker and a scripter. We can already say Relax was one of the first map creators to create balanced maps, like with mirrored sides. And he pushed that already before 2010, very early, when at a time when pro players haven't even adopted these fair maps. Most players, 1v1 players, were still playing Tournamented Desert and other 1v1 official maps. And he was already creating custom maps, but it really took a while until these took off over the years. Right? They slowly got adopted into World Series tournaments. Then they were adopted by the Gentool Auto downloader. And yeah, now they're very popular, and it has inspired many other map creators to also push for new balanced maps. But Relax is one of the first ones who has really pushed this into the mainstream competitive 1v1 tournament multiplayer. Yeah, so that's very good. Yeah, he proactively made significant contribution over the years. He says he's willing to support you, meaning the committee. Very active in mapping and playing a while back. I have a good understanding of the game. With a few tweaks, we can achieve a much better balance, which improves fun in playing 0 hour. Yeah. He says he's not as experienced as Spalding or Rising. These are two other candidates, actually. But to an extent. He's a modder. And he can contribute best in guiding and making his thoughts about ideas towards bugs and changes. He says he has been modding 0 hour back in the day with 1.0, 0.4 days with ini coding. Yeah, so he has some experience with changing the game and then testing it and experimenting. So that's always good. Yeah, experimentation is always productive. He was involved in patches like 1.05 and 1.06. 1.06 and 1.04. Yeah. So he says some people say he never was a pro. It's not all about the skill level. And he cannot guarantee strong participation when it comes to conferences and discussing things online on the microphone. Okay. So he would be mostly participating in text, but not over voice. Yeah. Okay. So it is good that he has this experience with modding and with previous patches, even though like the 1.06 patch, the community patch, and 1.05, they are not exactly great patches, in my opinion, at least. Maybe we can pull it up if we can find it. So if we go here to game replays, I think, where do we find it? So we have to go to 0 hour, and then we have to go to, I think it's here in the H2. There it is. Here, 1.06 patch. There it is. And here, as you can see, special thanks to Relax and also Spalding in here, which is also a candidate in the committee. Yeah, so they did work here on things. Yeah. It added new maps as well. Yeah. The thing is, in my opinion, this patch, so what this patch does is it does change some key aspects of how the game is set up. So it does change some general promotions and stuff like this, some fine tunings, but it also does very big changes that affect the overall state of the game. Like, for example, here it changes the tank armor vulnerability to act in different ways, which like affects globally all the things. Right? So here, vulnerability to infantry missiles decreased from 100% to 80%. So it's a really big change. Like, all the tanks are now stronger against infantry missiles. Right? It's a really significant change, which, you know, changes the dynamics of the game. And against toxins, a big change. Infantry armor has been changed. Emergency repair. Anyway, we don't have to go through this, but point is, this patch is mostly about gameplay changes or tweaks. It's not so much about game fixes. It probably fixes the scut bug exploits, but that's about it. So it's like really rudimentary, really basic in what it does. But it was good enough that people enjoyed it and had fun and said that they like it for tournaments at a highly competitive level, at least back in the day. This was from 2008, this thing. So it's already 18 years old, yeah, almost. So probably today they would have done things differently, right? But back in the day, it had some success, but obviously it never was adopted by the mainstream multiplayer community. I mean, how can it be, right? It didn't really focus on the big things, which are bugs and exploits, performance, stability, things like this. And obviously it was difficult to distribute such a thing, right? Because you need to go somewhere in the forums and find it and then install it and then hope that someone else has it installed, which is very unlikely, right? Yeah. Yeah, so they did like a lot of tweaks to the things, changed the cost of things, the prices here, and damage output. Yeah, half the damage output here, ground-based damage. Yeah, so there are quite some tangible changes. It's good that he worked on this stuff. Yeah. And yeah, my impression is that he has experience in this field. He is interested in this field. He has demonstrated always also in regards to the patching efforts over the last years that he was interested in this, and he did do some, and he did contribute to some discussions on GitHub. I wouldn't say to a level where it was really a significant contribution, but he did leave some opinions every now and then on various topics, especially like controversial game design topics. And he was always in good spirits. He never looked for trouble or beef. Yeah, it was always fine. Yeah, I think it's possible to work with him on things. I'm not convinced that he will contribute any big insights into discussions. Like, he will be able to provide an opinion, but maybe not provide like great solutions to a certain problem, right? So yeah, I haven't seen this at least, or I can't remember. Maybe some ideas here and there, yeah, certainly, but yeah, I can't recall that, you know, he would have wowed someone with his input on a topic. It was just like fine, like, like an opinion on something, and maybe he brings forward some new perspective on something, but overall, like just a regular discussion, I would say. Yeah. And he, yeah, at least in the last years, he didn't like contribute in any way that would have advanced the patching implementation effort, right? Which is not something that is expected from game designer or game designer in the committee, right? At least, it would be nice to have, obviously, but it's not like a hard requirement, and he didn't demonstrate that, so that's also pretty average, I would say. Yeah. Relax. I would say at best, where is he? At best, he is C, I would say. At best, C. B, I don't think so. C, I think, is very generous. Maybe D. Yeah, I have to rethink this, but max C, I would say. Max C. So positive is really that he was always showing engagement in this topic, right? So he does have experience in this. He's lacking, but I think it is certainly possible and good to work with him on things. So yeah, let's go with C for now. Maybe D. Somewhere C, D, somewhere there. Yeah, but not B, definitely not. Yeah, I will have to rethink. Man, this will be a very long session here. Okay, let's go to the next guy, yeah? Man. But you see, I can talk about these guys, yeah? So if you want to sit along, yeah, if you have time, we go through this, yeah? I will talk, no problem. Okay, Dr. Goldfish. Dr. Goldfish. Okay, so Dr. Goldfish, I remember he did write a lot, right? Yeah. I remember he did write that he knows all the bugs. He does a lot of testing, which he does. I did actually speak to him in person last year, a couple months ago, and it was nice to talk with him. Yeah, and recent experience with him has been also pretty good. He's helping, yeah, with a lot of testing. He does find a lot of bugs, and he spends a lot of time to figure out how something is broken and how to reproduce it. So that's really good. But that's something that speaks more for like the skill of testing, right? So like tester and designer, they are not the same thing. Like I would say he's really good at testing, but it doesn't imply that he's very good at game design, right? These are two different things. So, but I've really nothing. I've only good things to say for him about testing. So he's really good at this. Now, as for game design, I'm not so sure. I haven't seen him in game design discussions much about some. Well, there was some garbage topics in 0 Hour about design. I didn't pay too much attention to what exactly everyone wrote. I think Goldfish did write a bunch of things. I think his stance was that he wants to fix bugs first, which is a reasonable stance to have. Yeah. I picked up that many people did not so much agree with him on things. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to judge him on this. So he hasn't demonstrated implementing or designing something or like thinking through a problem on and demonstrating how how touching it would how changing something would affect the game. I'm not sure. I would have to read now all his topics or all his posts on game replays to really get an overview and tell you more about it. But my impression is that he hasn't demonstrated much of significance in this regard. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't do this or that he won't do this. He can, of course. Yeah, so Dr. Goldfish. Yeah. So I think he's very passionate about the game. He has a YouTube channel where he does post videos. He's active on the Discord servers. He's active interacting with the developers since the source code release. He wasn't before the source code release, but to be fair, not many people were actively engaged in developments before the source code release. It only really picked up afterwards. Like now we see like a real resurgence of development after the source code release, and before it was really a wasteland. Yeah. I do remember that he was once invited into one Discord for the super hackers back in the day, and I did actually remove him from the server because I didn't like the way he spammed the channels. Yeah. But that was already 5 years ago. Yeah. And yeah, so my opinion of him has changed in recent times. I think it's possible. I think he can be a good team player and can be very good to work with him. And we see it already in terms of testing. Like I see him in voice chats with other developers, and they really appreciate his input on things. Now, again, that doesn't mean that for game design his input will be equally valuable, but yeah, it could be. It could be that he grows into this role, but of course he would need to demonstrate this, right? He would need to demonstrate this. So yeah, and he hasn't yet. He hasn't yet demonstrated design work, right? Unlike Relax, who has already demonstrated it, like he did work on patches. So I would say that he's D. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. I think that's maybe C. Somewhere between C and D. Yeah. Somewhere there. Yeah. But I mean, everyone still has room for growth, right? So just because I put people down here, in my opinion, doesn't mean that these people will be there stuck forever, or that they are actually there. Maybe they are better than I think they are, right? I could be totally wrong. So hopefully, hopefully no one takes offense here. Yeah. I think I actually make myself really hated right now. Maybe it's a really poor idea what I'm doing here. Yeah. It's, I mean, because I mean, it's not great to be ranked down here, right? Everyone wants to be ranked S, right? But I want to be honest and fair, and it's tough, to judge someone, and yeah, maybe this video is a really bad idea. I just realized, really, really bad idea. Yeah, so I would say maybe I shouldn't upload this. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah. Oh man. Good. So that was Dr. Goldfish. Maybe I shouldn't go into too much detail about the candidates and talk too much, because then I don't know. Maybe I say too many bad things, and then they put me on their blacklist. Yeah. And then I get some headshot one day by some assassin. Okay, so the next one is Dominator. Yeah. Okay, Dominator. So Dominator did also have a biography. So he says, I'm on board with the idea of improving the game by making small incremental changes over time, retaining as much of the original game, weak armies or weak units, at least a little bit better, use a bit more where it makes sense. He loves the game the way it is, and he wants to hold on to certain aspects of the game. He's open to the fact that sometimes things need to change and let go of certain stuff. Like US Air Force carpet level 1 or Humvees loaded with 5 dudes. Let go of this, he says. My approach is start with the controversial bugs, yeah, and slowly fix those and get the feedback from the community. Okay, so he wants to interact with the community, so that's a very democratic approach. That's good. He likes also looking at data. See, an army like China is very weak, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, okay, so about Dominator, I can probably say a bunch of things. So I can say that over the years, there were many times where it was very painful to work with Dominator. Yeah, to start now with the negative stuff. So, like for example, when I did the reviews for the last iteration of the ranked custom maps that were added to Gen Tool in 2023 or so, I did review the maps that I was sent by various map creators, including Dominators, and I did review them, like looking for blocker bugs, like, you know, design not equal on both sides or units getting stuck somewhere and things like this, but also minor things like the tree looking bad or something like that, or rocks floating above the train, smaller things like that. So I did review all the maps, and it took a very long time, and Dominator was not happy with this, and then he was complaining everywhere, making videos, complaining about this, and yeah, which was just a pain to deal with because I put all this time to help polish the maps, which I know that most of the map creators really appreciated, because then in the end they were able to look at the maps and figured that they were much more polished than before the submission to the ranked maps. But Dominator was not so fond of this, and it was painful to work like this. Yeah. And also, like, back in the day when I started with the patching effort on GitHub with a bunch of other people, I invited everyone on Game Replays to contribute to the patching efforts. And he did participate in that, in some discussions, made some good posts, but also made some bad posts. And he made a lot of bad posts in Game Replays, complaining about things, like when we discussed about something and said, let's think about this problem, let's maybe change this to that. And then Dominator was always not happy about any kind of discussion, which is not really productive, because the point of a discussion is to discover what are good steps to take. But if the only thing you do, you go in a discussion and you just attack the people for discussing something by saying, oh, no one asked about this, or I've never seen this being a problem, or, you know, like just dropping some opinion in order to attack then the people who work on these things, that wasn't great. And he did that a lot. And that was never good. But on the good side, he also did try to participate. He had some good words to say about work sometimes. He has many good things to say about Generals Online. That's good to see. Which is building on top of the work of the super hackers, which have been building the patch in the past. So, you know, he does good things, but he also does bad things in terms of communication. Now, I think he does have a lot of knowledge about the game, and he may have some good ideas here and there, but he's also lacking knowledge about game design, right? About all the implications that like how the implementation specifics of certain things he doesn't know, but he can probably say like, okay, do I like a certain feature? How would it interact with competitive play at a high level, at a pro and expert level in competitions and tournaments, right? So he would be able to accurately judge this, and or not accurately, but he would have like an opinion that is valuable in this regard. I've noticed that in the last couple months he did make an effort to engage in better faith in discussions, but he still goes back to his old habits of being combative in discussions and talking down to people. So that's not good. And I would expect that the committee members that they interact in a respectful manner and always solution oriented, right? And not like you should always approach a topic and think about it unemotionally and just fact based. So you just say, okay, you make this suggestion. I don't agree with it because X, Y, Z, right? And then you say it's not good because this and this and this. And like if you make good arguments, other people will realize this and they will agree on this. If the points are well thought through, well presented, people will agree with good arguments. That's just the way it is. But if someone goes into a discussion and just says, yeah, I think that's shit, and I don't understand why anyone should listen to what you say, then that's not a good way to engage with that person, right? And so, yeah, he would need to improve on this kind of communication. Yeah, I would say this is his biggest flaw, or the biggest where he has room for improvement. He also did do. I did see he did make videos for discussing balance changes or gameplay changes with other expert or pro players in voice calls on YouTube. I haven't watched them because they were pretty long, like 5-7 hours or so. I haven't watched them, but he certainly has a lot of interest in this topic, which is good. But I think he does not yet know how to approach this. Yeah, so yeah, but it's maybe something that he can grow into. Yeah. What else can I say? Yeah. I think it's very good that he does. I think his video work in terms of onboarding players, I think is very important. Like how to install the game, how to connect to the service, how to change the hotkeys, things like this. I think very important contributions to get the players on board. And I also found the developer interviews really great. So it really shows that he had a lot of interest and still has a lot of interest in this regard. And he did also participate in the GitHub discussions back in the day sometimes. I think I already mentioned that. But yeah, not always in a great productive manner. Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes not. So hit and miss on game replays. I would say his communication has been typically worse. But I think he can do it. He just needs to want it, and so far he has not demonstrated that. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. So where would we put him into the tier list? Um, Also, what I can say about Dominator, he's probably one of the most passionate players and people when it comes to General Zero Hour, right? Like you won't find much more people that are more passionate about the game, right? Obviously, there are many people passionate, but I would put him into like a special tier that he's very passionate. His biggest manco is his communication. If you would improve that, then yeah, it's really hard for me to say. So he's definitely he's somewhere here, yeah, somewhere here. So I would say if he like really works on his communications, he could be maybe A tier, maybe not. So it's hard to say. Like he hasn't demonstrated any like game design specific discovery or discussions where you could really see, oh wow, he's really putting a lot of thought into this. Right? So he hasn't done that. He has a problem with the communication, so that's a big hindrance. He has a lot of knowledge. He has a lot of passion. So these are really good. So I would say he is at least C, but he could be B as well. So somewhere between B and C, I would say. He is not. I would say he's not as good as Marika. I would think. Yeah, he's not at Marika level, but yeah, somewhere here. I would still rank him. I don't know. Let's leave him here for now. Yeah. So Marika is certainly higher. Dominator. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put him average for now. Yeah, but obviously he has a lot of game skill. He's a fast player and good player, and he's he knows how to win matches. So that's all good and well. Maybe I'm underestimating him. I have to judge him also on what I've seen and like the communication. As I said, I think that's the biggest problem. If it wasn't for the communication, definitely B. And if we would then also demonstrate like really great discussions, then easily A, right? So that's my thinking here. Like better communication, like not attacking people and not being difficult, B easily, and then like demonstrating great participation, actively engaging, and really driving discussions forward, easily A, right? But he's not there, so I would say it's fair to put him in C, yeah, I would say. Okay, is that fair? Well, he probably won't be happy about that. Yeah, it's just average. Oh boy. Now I am on his blacklist as well. I think everyone I put here at C and below, I will be on their blacklist. Yeah, very likely. Okay, let's remove and let's spin again. Okay, we're now, I don't know, how long are we in there? 48 minutes and we only got through 4 guys. That's not much. Okay, next one is Memphis. Okay, so Memphis is here. Memphis, pro player, streamer, in-game name Memphis, around since 2007. Yeah, a lot of breaks, very active in the last 3 to 4 years. Okay, and he plays a lot of different tournament formats here. All these is very known in different game formats, and his motivation and his goal is to get the game to a point where we just have the game in a state which kinda everyone having fun playing it. I'm not able to change the game like a programmer, but I would like to give advice to what should be the priority as a competitive and also as a casual player of the game, also helping to adapt changes or speak about them, testing them, or try to figure out other ways to balance the game. So I can offer my experience and time to help to improve the game. Okay, that's a fair application. So he has no resume that displays any experience in this regard, right? Um, he's not an expert title player. He is a pro player. Yeah, that's what it says here. He's a streamer as well, so he does present the game. Okay. He plays a lot of formats. He didn't say how many games he played, but he's around since 2007, so probably played a lot, but he did take some breaks. So yeah, it's not clear. I have never seen him interacting in game design related discussions. So there's nothing I can judge on other than this text I'm seeing here. I haven't interacted with him, but I haven't seen any difficult discussions with him in the forum. So he seems to be rather respectable. He's not joining flame wars or anything. So I would say he's probably a respectful guy, and he can do discussions. But I haven't seen him actively push discussions and drive progress of anything, right? So yeah, I can't. There's no evidence that he would make a great game designer, right? Now there's no evidence that he would make a bad one, right? But yeah, I would say he's below Goldfish. Goldfish is demonstrating much more passion in regards to the game. So I would put him in E tier, yeah, for now. Maybe he could be D tier, but I don't think he's C tier. I don't think so. Yeah, he's not F, yeah. That's the most I can say. I don't know much about him. Maybe he's better than I think he is. That's just my expectation. Obviously, I could be wrong. Now, so far, everyone is here. No one in S and A tier here. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm very critical. Yeah, to be fair, I'm very critical. I'm not easily putting someone high up there. Yeah, someone else may do that. For me to reach the top level, you have to be excellent. Yeah, you have to be the creme de la creme, the best of the best. You have to be God, basically. Yeah, God level, that's the highest. So reaching up there is difficult. Okay, now we got Mr. Xcal. Sir Xcal. So what did he write? So he's a 1v1 master, senior commentator, streamer. A game that I love. I played from its release from 2003 to 2011. Then he took a 9-year break and is playing since then every day. Has a lot of experience, and that the community can benefit from. He has won tournaments in every single competitive format for General's 0 Hour. He interacts regularly in various communities. He feels a connection combined with my understanding of the game can give valued feedback and input. Yeah. So I think undoubtedly Xcal is the best player in the game, right? You can say that, right? So when Xcal was absent in these 9 years, the best player was Big Size. But ever since Xcal is back, he has taken back the crown of being the best player. And I think that's pretty much undisputed. There's no question about it. He has won most of the World Series tournaments in the last years, a lot of other tournaments. Yeah, he's consistently rank 1 or very high up behind other strong players. So yeah, undoubtedly he's very, very good in playing the game. I think he can also give great insights into many aspects of the game that someone might not think about. But I think that accounts for all the top players, right? That someone that is not playing as many games doesn't necessarily think about, right? I agree with him that I agree with what he says. Extensive experience can be a benefit to the committee. Yeah, I think this is true. I would also say, similar to a Dominator, he does have the issue of with the communication. I do think he can communicate well, but sometimes he's lacking the will to do this. And instead, he resorts into attacking the character of someone if he's not agreeing with their opinion or with whatever they say. Like in game replays forum, I see this very often in discussions about game balance and different matters, that then he will disagree with someone, and maybe he will give some short argument about it, but he won't go into too much detail. And then he will also judge the character of the author that made whatever change proposal or idea, right? So it's not a great way to interact with people on a good faith basis, right? So because like if you would just step forward and you would just say, this is not a good idea because XYZ, and just leave it at that, without attacking the author of this idea and saying, hey, you are semi-player at best, and you don't have enough experience to talk about this, or you lost that last tournament, and how can you judge, or things like similar to this. Like, I'm not implying that he said exactly this, but like in this realm, yeah. If we would look through the forums, we can find this, yeah. And it's different from how developers actually discuss these things. Developers interact and discuss topics like game design in a way that focuses on the topic. It's a huge difference. Game designers, developers, they focus on the topic and they just talk about how the game would look like if it was changed to this and that, right? How would it play? Would it be a great change? Would it be a bad change? Could we maybe do this or that? Let's collect some change proposals. Like, what can we do? Do we have a problem? Do we not have a problem? What could we do? Like, try to figure out and discuss and derive some conclusion, yeah, hopefully. But with some players, and XCA is one of them, this is very difficult because they will resort to judgment, right? And I think, I'm not sure, like, in their mind, they probably think that they are rightful to do this judgment. And maybe they think that it will advance the discussion, or it will put an end to the discussion, and then we can move on. Maybe that's the idea behind it. That, you know, like if you're the best player in the game and you have all these accolades, right? All the medals, you're the best player, and you can say, yeah, you're wrong. I'm the best player. I just say that. I put maybe a few arguments, but then I say, yeah, you're not in a position to talk about this or to judge this appropriately, and yet, like, you yield judgment over this person that brought forward some ideas, you shut them down, then, you know, it is a statement that many people will look to, right? And then it's really hard to argue against someone who has this skill level, right? And you naturally, you have difficulties engaging with them, right? Because they can always go back to the argument of, yeah, I play so many tournaments and this doesn't work, right? For a multitude of reasons. And they very, very well can be correct. Like, if XCal says that this is not a good change, he very well may be right, yeah? he may have a really good point, but if he doesn't communicate it in a way that everyone can understand and can agree with what he says, and then can maybe derive other solutions of what he says, then he's not contributing well to the discussion, right? And so my wish would be that he would discuss more like developers would discuss topics, right? That he really goes in only with the aim to discuss the matter, the topic at hand, not discuss who put up the proposal or who has some ideas that are different of his, right? So I could picture that he can probably have very good discussions with people that are aligned with him or that also have a lot of experience with him, right? Like let's say he would discuss with Vivid, yeah, who's also another big player. And then maybe he could have with him a discussion and they would have some agreements. But since they know that they are both very good players, they would respect their opinions, right? Maybe they disagree on some things, but probably they agree on many, many things. And then they have an easier time to communicate such matters. Whereas if they communicate with someone that they fundamentally disagree with, that they have a completely different position, then they are not able to communicate it so well. I hope I make sense in explaining this. It's hard for me to explain because English is not my first language and it's not something that I talk about most of the time, like, communication skills. It's not my expertise either. But, it's just something that I observe. It's hard to communicate when someone does not want to enter good faith discussions. Now, I think Xcal can do it, but he needs, same as Dominator, he needs to want it. Yeah. If he does not want to do it and he wants to talk down to people, then he can always do this, and it will always derail discussions. Yeah, I think he has room for improvement in this regard, but I agree with him that, yeah, he has like very extensive experience, probably more than anyone. So of course his insights are very valuable, but it also does not mean that he can discover all the best designs. He's probably very good at judging and giving feedback on many designs, but maybe he's not great in discovering designs. At least I haven't seen that. He has not illustrated that. Right? I think on the GitHub, I think he made just one comment ever, right? If I recall correctly, on one topic where he just was disagreeing with something, if I recall correctly. On game replays, yeah, he was often complaining, same as Dominator, very similar. Yeah, so, yeah, it's hard to say. Also, he has not illustrated, like, actually he did, I do remember he did write me that he was working for some StarCraft patching efforts. I don't know the extent of it, I can't remember, but he did say he did some work there, so he does have some experience with balancing or so. It's hard to say. I would say he's not better than Maraka. In ways, he's similar to Dominator, but he probably has an edge over Dominator in terms of game insights, even though it's probably very similar. Like, I mean, Dominator also has a lot of skills, right? But Xcal probably more so. Yeah, I'm not sure. I would say Xcal is somewhere between B and C, maybe more on B, simply because he is the best player. Yeah, so that puts him at B. But the communication is a huge issue, same as Dominator. I wouldn't say he's better than Maraka. So Maraka could actually be, if you compare him with X-Guy, I would actually say Maraka could be A tier. Yeah, simply because he already has experience with a Contra mod, but it is generous. I would say it's generous. Yeah. Maraka could be A tier, X-Guy B tier. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's fair. So I would say X-Guy is somewhere between B and C, but maybe more B, and Maraka between B and A, but more A. But Maraka still has a lot of, like, he would still need to grow more to be really a solid A, I would say. Yeah, but I think you can put him there. He's better than X-Guy, I would assume. Yeah, for this kind of job, for the purpose of game design work, I would rank Maraka a bit higher than X-Guy. Yeah, but I think if X-Guy really, if X-Guy demonstrates like teamwork and actively contributing in discussions and really active and like great insights and good ideas and great feedbacks and actually play testing, that's very important. Play testing. And Maraka, his work did imply that he does testing, and I think he did actually write it. He does testing for the mods, and Xcal has never really demonstrated that, right? Like he's quick on jumping on like opinions on things, but sometimes it's better, or often it's better, to first playtest something to get an impression of, how does it actually play out before, complaining about all the theoreticals. Yeah. Even though, again, he probably has reasons for whatever his complaints are, but he needs to communicate them better. That's a big thing. And so far, I haven't seen this much of him. Maybe he did that in the voice chats that he had with Dominator. I know that there were a bunch of people, and maybe there was also Xka. I know there was Maraka. Yeah. But I haven't, as I said, I haven't watched it, so I cannot really say, but maybe he discussed well there. So I could be misjudging him, but just like from the interaction that I had with Xcal, there was often difficulty. So, and that's why I wouldn't put him into A. I would put him into a generous B. Yeah, because he is the best player. Yeah, so yeah, I think B is fair. And now we have Maraka and A. So as you can see, we're already getting here a little bit laid out. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so you see, I'm not that critical. Yeah, I'm not that critical. And I give reasons. Yeah, and obviously someone can disagree with my reasons. Yeah, that's fair. But everyone, and that includes myself, is entitled to their opinion. Good. So we have red versus blue. Red versus blue. So, red versus blue. Man, I'm really talking a lot. Yeah. Red versus blue. Sponsor. Tournament. Host. So, RVB, widely known. He represents team, game community, community outpost. Motivations are rather simple. I want to ensure 0-hour game and its greatest strengths community continue to grow, engage, and show the world is still the greatest RTS game ever made, ensuring that the gameplay and balance remains coherent and consistent with the value of the different communities in 0-hour, while still allowing full integration of the community to one centralized place open to us all. Yeah, okay, so he doesn't mention any skills that would be of benefit for the game design committee. Like, he doesn't mention any skills in terms of gameplay or experiences. I don't know how often he plays. I have never seen a live stream with him. I have spoken to him in voice calls. He has a very deep voice, yeah, very boss voice, yeah, absolute boss. Yeah, that gives him automatic authority. Yeah, big boss. Yeah, so there we can say, big boss voice. He's very pleasant to talk to. Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, it's in terms of game design competency, there's nothing that we can highlight. So there's no evidence that he's a very good player. Oof. I mean, it's good that he is a nice person, but I mean, for game design, we have to be honest, and it is important to be a good fit for this particular job, which I don't think he is, but it could be that I just don't know much about him. I haven't seen him participating in game design specific discussions. He did do some work in a super hackers organization in terms of some management related tasks. Yeah, so he does show he did show some level of participation and motivation in this direction, but I would not expect him to do this for game design. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I don't see him as being like a great pick. I have to be honest. I met him in person as well briefly, also a couple of months ago, where I met the goldfish, and yeah, he was a nice guy. But I for this job, I have to be honest. I don't think he would be a great fit. Yeah, but that's okay, right? Not everyone is, right? To be fair, right? Good. Yeah, that's all I can say. But maybe he is. Maybe he would be a great pick. Yeah. I think two of the most important things is to have time. Yeah, that. If you don't have time, you're of no use. But also, if you have no if you have no passion for the game, then you're not a great pick. But if you have great passion, then that's always good, because it means you can grow into this field that you're passionate about, right? Yeah, I don't know how high Red versus Blue's passionate levels are, but certainly not at the levels of Dominator, for example, I would say. Yeah. Good. But certainly he has passion, otherwise he wouldn't do, all this administrative work around community outposts, right? But yeah, just judging from the game design, I cannot put him higher than F. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, so the next winner is Rising. Mr. Rising. So Rising did say, he's here. So he is 1 versus 1 expert title player. He's very excited. Wants to make 0 Hour the best game. He has been interested in being part of the game community, and he enjoys the idea of making improvements. Has a potential to be controversial. The balance of a real-time strategy game is critical to how fun it is to play. And I think we would be doing a disservice to the opportunity in front of us. Yeah. He has been playing 0 Hour on and off for 20 years, so that's a long time. He has seen it undergo a vast amount of changes. He was heavily involved in the 1.06 balance patch. Yeah, and he also played a fair amount of Generals, the base game. He has decent experience playing other games. Okay, that's good, to various levels, other RTS games. He says it's important as it provides a broader knowledge of good game design. Yeah, I can see that. This is something that I'm lacking personally. I did play some StarCraft, and maybe some Age of Empires, but mostly General 0 Hour. Yeah. Overall goals, my goal would be to contribute to making a patch patches that are well received by the community as a whole. Yeah. Putting my own personal views to one side, as I appreciate that I'm just one player amongst thousands, and focusing on building something which has the best chance of receiving widespread acceptance. Okay. So he's a good player. He does have a lot of experience with General CR, also with some other games. For Excal, we can also say he played a lot of StarCraft, so he also has experience with another real-time strategy game. So that was also good for Excal. So Rising is generally well respected when it comes to communicating ideas and opinions. He has a very good way of communicating with people. Most of the time, I think I've seen just a handful of posts where I said, oof, that's a bit too confrontational. But most of the time, he's very level-headed and very pleasant to discuss about topics. I do remember he did participate in some discussions with some brief sentences in the GitHub discussions back in the day for the patch. So he did always show some interest. He wasn't heavily involved. He didn't jump into it and try to help wherever he can. So he's not like super engaged like Maraka would have been for mods. But I think Rising could probably be a really good committee member, because I do expect that he's able to give a lot of good judgment calls on decisions that many people would be able to agree with. I see this time and time again that people say, oh, I very much agree with Rising when he formulates his opinion on something or his ideas. So he's very well respected in that regard. Now, he hasn't demonstrated like in-depth analysis, and at least not that I've seen. He does mention 1.06, that he was heavily involved in that. But my opinion on 1.06 is that it's not a great product on its own. Yeah. But maybe for the purpose that it was built for, like achieving balance, that maybe he did contribute a lot of good insight, for this kind of purpose. Now it could be very useful. Yeah. Well, it will be very useful for the game design committee. So I do think that Rising could be a pretty good candidate, but obviously he has also, there are levels to grow, right? So Rising, I would say he is at least B. At least B, maybe even A, but he doesn't have maybe the experience of Maraka, but he's very well respected in that regard. He's not well known like like players like Maraka or Excal or Dominator, because he's not playing that visibly and like in every challenge and big tournaments, and he's not a live streamer himself. I don't know, somewhere between A and B. Would we put him into A? Maybe. So definitely B. I would say definitely B, because he's a great communicator. Yeah. Now he would need to demonstrate more engagement and more passion and more insight. So putting him into A would be generous. Yeah, I don't know. Oof. He's at least B. Let's leave him there for now. Yeah, at least B. But he shouldn't have a difficult time going to A. Yeah, if he really is engaging a lot and doing great work and collaborating, finding great solutions, making good decisions, I can easily see him at A. Yeah, because he does have all the ingredients, I would say. Yeah, he has all the ingredients to be there. So I think Rising at least B, Yeah. Okay. So then, who's next? Okay, Spalding. Spalding. Okay, so Spalding is here. 1 versus 1 expert strategist. I represent every game format. My goal is simple: to have a balanced game. Okay, there's not much we can go off here. Oof. Spalding. So he did also work on 1.06. Yeah. Where is it? So Rising did. Rising is not listed here. Relax is listed, Spalding is listed, but Rising is not. He did say he was involved, but it's not listed here. Okay, so Spalding. 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 So he has a lot of knowledge about the game as well. He's not as good as players like Excal or Vivid, because he's probably lacking the speed by now. Yeah, but just like on game knowledge level, he's considered very good by many of the top players. Yeah, well, all of the top players. He generally makes good points in the forums. He never engaged on GitHub in discussions there. So he did work on 1.06, so it means he did engage back in the day in such discussions. Similar to Excal and Dominator, he does have the habit of engaging in a competitive way in discussions and not be focused on the actual conversation, but diverting into judgment calls on people and opinion pieces that are not productive. So he also has some communication issues, but I think if he wants, same as Excal, he can overcome this, but he would need to demonstrate this consistently. So I think I would say he can go here also into B next to Rising and Excal. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I think he's better than C. I think he has an advantage over Relax and Dominator, but he's not as good as Maraka, I would say. Yeah. I would attribute more to Maraka. Yeah, so I think it's safe to place him here. Yeah, in B tier. But I think he has room to grow. It depends on, if same as Excal and Rising, if he can demonstrate like great write-ups on insights and great judgment calls on the actual topics and activity, actually engage and really be passionate and drive discussions, initiate discussions, drive discussions. He hasn't demonstrated that, so there's no way he's A tier, right? I don't think so. Good. Now let's go to the next guy. That was quicker judgment. I'm very judgy here in this video, aren't I? Yeah. So next one, stars. By the way, how long are we into this video already? 1 hour 24. Okay. Okay, so stars. By the way, my music stopped here. So, stars. Stars is... Stars, let's take a look at this text again. Stars here. So he wants to submit his application for joining the committee in section 1 versus 1 FFA. What I can do for you, a lot of free time, especially during the daytime. So that's good. A lot of free time. That's great. A lot of experience in the game. I also have my own thoughts and ideas about balance. Yeah, I have my own channel and audience. Yeah, where I can both collect opinions of players and viewers. Okay, that's good. And promote new features. One more important point, I represent all Russian-speaking players and in general the entire Russian-speaking community. Okay, so he does claim to have a lot of representation with his Russian peers. Yeah. Presence on a committee will be able to affect a huge range of people, their opinions, ideas, etc. I was chosen for my communication skills and ability to find compromises in disputes. So he does say he's a good communicator and he will be happy to become part of the team and work with you. Okay, so he does sound very pleased to work. He does claim he has good communication skills, and my impression also is, yeah, he's comfortable to communicate with. Whenever I had communicated with him, he was helpful and engaging. Yeah, he was not shy of helping. So, for example, back in the day, I think I asked him to make a translation for some poll to Russian, and he did that without question asked. Yeah, so yeah, I think Stas, it's good that he has a lot of time. Now, he hasn't demonstrated, like many others, he hasn't demonstrated any work towards patching the game, right? No investigations, no write-ups, no great insights, or testing, or playtests, or things like this. He hasn't shown that. So, yeah. So I would say, Stars. Yeah. So I think he's also, is he pro player? Is he listed as pro player? Yeah, he's listed as pro. So I would probably put him, since he does have a lot of time, he can communicate well, but yeah, he's lacking. He's not at the level of Dominator in terms of game skill, right? So he must be lower. I think we can put him next to Goldfish. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be fair. D tier for Mr. Stairs. Yeah. Now, if he engages more into, like, patch related work, then he can go to C. Now, obviously, it will be harder for him to reach higher levels because he would really need to become a very good game designer to excel here the next categories. But if he just shows engagement, and I can easily see him go up levels, right? Yeah, but right now, like, he hasn't demonstrated things yet, right? Okay, I think that's fair to say. And somehow the music stopped here. Now it's back. Okay. Yeah, if you want to have your own music, you have to put your own in the background. I always do without music so that you can put your own while watching the podcast, so to say. Good. Then that was Stars. That was quick. Yeah. Okay. Who else do we have? Aha. Well, I won't judge myself. That's for someone else to judge. So I will just skip myself and spin the wheel again. Mr. Killer. Mr. Killer. We have a winner. So Killer is here, the hamster. I don't know if it's his hamster or just some random hamster. Now, so let's go at his Killer here. So pro player. I would like to apply the committee as a representative of the team games community. I believe that I have a lot to offer in terms of knowledge, experience, and balanced insights. I have a lot of passion for the game, evidently so. Okay, so I don't know much about Killer. Like, I don't know how long he already plays the game. Is he a new player or is he already there 10 years already? I haven't seen him, like, if we go on his profile, when did he actually register? In 23. So my impression is that he is not actually playing the game for too long. Whereas most of the other players here, like Stars is all-time, Goldfish all-time, Dominator, Relax, Spalding, Rising, Excal, Marca, all these here very old-timers. Killer is very new age. He never illustrated any kind of passion for contributing to any kind of game content, user-generated content. Yeah, I've never seen him on GitHub. I did see him in some discussions on game replays, but it was always like troll posts, or often troll posts. Not always, but often trollings, or yeah, just like not very insightful or useful posts on topics. A lot of complainings I've seen him when it came to, like, for example, there's like this topic where I presented the work that we did in the Super Hackers in regards to patching the game, and he always had bad things to say, even though he never play tested it or never really studied all the things. He never demonstrated any effort to really engage into good discussions. I would say more the contrary. He was more competitive or a nuisance, or yeah. So I don't know. I don't have a good impression from Killer. Now he does say he's pro player. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him in challenges, but maybe that's just because I haven't followed them in recent years, right? So maybe he's very good. So I mean, like, so considering that if he's a good player as he claims he is, that means he has some knowledge and some he can do judgment calls on things, but yeah, he hasn't demonstrated any like good contribution. So I would say E is probably fair to say. Like, we can rank him higher than RVB because of game skill, but like, considering he's doing trolling, that's not a good look. So actually I would say he's worse than Memphis in that regard then. Oof. Maybe Memphis needs to go up or Killer needs to go down. Because I would rank Memphis higher than Killer, just based on the posts I've seen now. I don't know if Killer is a much better player than Memphis and can, contribute better to game design topics. I don't know that. But just like what I've seen. But Memphis also didn't contribute much, so maybe it's fair to put them on both the same level. Yeah, I would say Memphis probably better pick than Killer, but I also wouldn't put Killer into F, although it could also be a possibility. Killer is somewhere between E and F, I would say. Yeah, it speaks for him that he's a pro player, so that's always a plus. Yeah, but he would need to engage in more positive ways just than trolling. Yeah. But it could be that I have a wrong impression of him, but that's just what I've picked up just from my perspective. I could be wrong. Maybe he's better than I claim he is, or that's just my impression. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. So next one. Sonic. Okay, so Sonic, let's see his text again. Sonic, he did write a lot. So I would like, he's a scripter and 0 Hour Letter administrator. And he has a strong technical understanding of 0 Hour game mechanics. So that's very good. Yeah, strong technical understanding. Long-term experience working with INI files. That's also positive. I understand how unit, weapon, armor, armor types interact. Okay. He can extract and analyze technical data. Okay, that's good. And he has been playing 0 Hour for over 15 years. That's good. A lot of time and experience, a long track record. That's good. He considers himself a high semi-pro player. Okay. Strong experience in 1 vs 1 and 2 vs 2. Solid understanding of other formats. Over the years, I've actively discussed patch 1.04 with experienced players and regularly analyzed games in detail. Okay. This helped him develop a structured and analytical approach to evaluating gameplay, matchups, and design decisions. Okay, I'm always ready to help with testing, analysis, and discussions of gameplay and balance-related ideas. Okay. And he would like to share his view on how patch development should be organized. Responsibilities should be clearly divided, and then he makes some suggestions here. Okay, so he is passionate about the game. He has a long track record. He has experience with the technical aspects of the game design. So that's a big plus. Yeah, that some of the other ones don't have here, right? I don't know about Maraka. Maybe he does have that as well, but I know that XCal Rising probably doesn't. Spalding, maybe, I don't know. So Sonic. I would say I would put him here in D tier. Maybe even C tier, because he does have the experience with the INI files. Yeah. So if he didn't have the experience, I would put him in D tier. Although he's not pro player, so that speaks against him. But it's not so bad. Like, he can still have ideas and things like this. So, but he can also have bad ideas. Yeah. But he did have some recent. He did open a topic in. Let me see that. In the discussions here, where he had a 0 Hour balance patch. Let me see that. Here he presented some of his work. So he made a lot of changes, cache values. He put a limit to black market, supply drop zone, and hackers. He changed command center costs. He did a lot of big changes here. Dozer cost 1,000 to 700. So he's very happy to make big changes to the game. Does he also... No, he didn't explain why he did the things. He just made the changes. Yeah. He changed a lot of costs and build times. Okay, but he did not explain why he did these things. Rocket pods removed. Oof. Well, that's a big change. Laser tank no longer disabled under low power. Okay, so yeah, there's some pretty big changes in here. Like this one, for example. Very controversial. Now, unfortunately, he didn't explain his changes in here, why he did these things. Let me see this one here. Oh, this one is a nicer presentation of it. Yeah. So he does have some experience with tweaking the game. He's able to put in thoughts and he's motivated to do that. So that's good. Now, that doesn't mean that he has great thoughts on things. I've seen that many of the candidates that are ranked higher here, they were in stark disagreements with Sonic recently, especially exactly in this very topic here on certain things. So it looks like there's some friction already between his approach and the opinions of others. Yeah. So I would say Sonic is at least D. I'm not sure if we can put him into C. Maybe, because he does have the experience and he did showcase already he is willing to go there. But, I'm not sure. Yeah, so somewhere between C and D, at least D. I think he can go to C if he brings forward ideas that really drive a good discussion and where people see that yeah, he makes good points here. Yeah, it's one thing to make tweaks to the game and then say we have achieved balance, but it's another to make changes to the game that are universally agreed and least controversial, but still achieve the intended goal of making the game balanced or lifting up a useless unit to be more useful, right? So there have been so many patch attempts to the game, like a lot of different patches, and no one ever picked off really. And like everyone has different ideas for what can be done to the game to achieve balance. But not every change is created equal. You can achieve balance by making changes that in turn make the game less fun to play. You can also make changes that make the game more fun and more balanced as a result, right? So, when we see, for example, when we look at this change, this one here, like you can make a strong case where you say, oh, maybe this makes the game balanced. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it does in some situations, but it could be a huge disservice to all the players who really like to spam big matches where they build a lot of units and a lot of buildings and a lot of cash to get those units, right? So if you can only build 8 black markets, yeah, it's not that much. It doesn't sponsor a lot of Scud Storms and a lot of units, right? So it would be a very controversial change, and something like this very likely doesn't go lightly, right? But it's good. He's friendly to experimentation, which I think is good. It doesn't mean that his judgment call is the best. And I think this one would be a good example, which would be highly controversial to change in this regard. But, it's something that someone can talk about, right? That's fair. Would it be a high priority item? Maybe not, right? But yeah, I think it's good that he engages with this work. And so I think his candidacy for the game design committee is certainly reasonable, and put him in D. Yeah, because he's not pro player, he's not expert player, so I don't think he has a competency of dominator in that regard. Maybe relax is also a bit too generous here with C. Maybe relax would also be a candidate for the D here. Yeah, I think I did say that putting him into C is generous. I put him there because he did engage into discussions and he did show passion. That's why I put him here. That was the trigger. Otherwise, I would have also put him into D. Yeah, let's leave relax here for now. But you could also make a case that relax is lower than dominator. Yeah. Okay, I think that's fair. For now, let's move on. Okay, next winner is Stubjaks. Stubjaks, for me at least, is a very easy call to make. Over the years, he has consistently demonstrated great insights and great demonstrations of game design proposals and ideas which go far beyond what I've seen from most other contributors. On GitHub, he has contributed a lot. He's a programmer, but also game designer. Let's look at his biography again. So he is professional game designer. So it's actually his job to design games. He's also a programmer and he's also an artist. So he has a very good game development skills here. And he says, a long-time zero-hour player as well as a professional video game developer. I find no greater joy in being able to combine my life's passion with my favorite video game of all time. I advocate for clean and considered design, minimal change visibility, guideline adherence, ensuring proposals receive proper scrutiny, and doing what is best for the game and its players. I will keep things concise with some bullet points. Active contributor to Super Hackers, Code and Patch repositories. Yes. Active player since 2006, so very long history. 20,000 matches played. Tertiary degree in game design philosophy. Experience in all game formats. Experience in map making and modding. Developer of tools. A deep understanding of the game's design. Strategies, mechanics, flaws and bugs. Proven track record of professionalism, yes. And integrity, yes. Extremely high attention to detail, no beef, yes. And a few examples of my patch contributions where he did like proposals and analysis of what is wrong with these things and how they could be addressed, which I can attest to he did, like proposals for how to fix pathfinders, how to fix super technicals, and he did like really long write-ups with graphs of how these things play out and all the technical implications. If this thing is changed, this thing happens, we can do this and that. So he really puts a lot of thought into his change proposals, gives a great analysis, has a lot of great ideas. He's a very good communicator. He puts a lot of effort and thought into his proposals. Now, it doesn't mean that he always has the definite answer to all the things, right? It doesn't mean that every proposal he makes is the way to go, right? That's not the case, but he can consistently demonstrate that he is a great value to game design discussions. He gives great insights and he makes people think of things that they may not have thought about. And he's not an expert level player, but he is a good enough player. He has participated in World Series tournaments. He is a very good player, not an expert level player, of course, but he has a very good understanding. I can attest to that. He has the technical backing of this as well to really understand what happens on the implementation details. So that's a big plus, because then you really get to understand, how does this actually work and how can we actually configure this thing? So it's a big plus. And yeah, I would say he's probably the best designer that we have for the game. It's no contest if we compare them to the rest. He's by far the best candidate for this job, by far. Yeah, so he's easily S tier. He's not the best player. but in terms of game design, he's very good. Yeah. Now again, it doesn't mean that he has all the answers and will make the best game ever, but he's a great contribution to any game design related discussions, and I rank him very highly on this. And he shows a lot of passion for this. He's proactively, as he said, contributing to this. You don't have to ask him to join anything. He's just doing it. Right? He just wants to do it. Right? So he has a lot of self-motivation, which is great. And this is something like he has so many advantages over the rest of the fields. Like this level of engagement that he has is unmatched. Right? It's the highest level. Like if you reach this level, you're great, right? And so like being a good player at the game doesn't automatically make you a great game designer. Like Xcal is the best player, but it doesn't mean he is the best game designer for the game, right? And with Stubiaks, I can without a doubt say he is a very good game designer. Maybe for a case in point, so that you can see that I don't just talk bullshit here. Let's just pull up some of his write-ups on Game Page repository. Let's go to pull requests. Let's type in author. Oh boy. Author Stubiaks. There he is. And so he has 12 opened, 59 are closed. So for example, let's look at Pathfinder balance. Yeah. Just to see what he writes, just to get a gist of it. So welcome to the Pathfinder balance branch. Yeah. So there was like some issue report which says USA Pathfinder is very strong. Yeah. Let's take a look at it. So what did it say? Very strong. It does require level 3 promotion, but still it is an absolute game changer. It kills all infantry and heroes instantaneously. It can even shoot when loaded in Humvees and combat Chinooks with laser precision. Very strong versus China infantry, USA, GLA. Costs 600 money. And then there are a bunch of proposals that we have collected here. And then Stubiaks went ahead and made a write-up. It says one of the most powerful units. He writes some intro. Then he does make some change proposals here. Then he writes some rationales about it, about his proposals. He lists some facts about it, before and after. Then he compares it with some other units. Then he provides some video about it, explains what is happening in the video. Then the next one, again, explains what is happening, provides a table to get a good overview over what is going on here in the original game and then the patch. Then he writes something about that, writes about the other change proposal, build time, attack range, and yeah, gives you some image about it. Price, some more write-up, movement, stealth delay, experience yields, further considerations. He thinks about how does it interact with other things, hero resistance, strategy center, fire vulnerability, and a summary. And so as you can see, like he puts a lot of thoughts into these things. Now, it doesn't mean that all these changes are winners, right? And great and, the way to go. But it triggers a discussion and it goes into discovery, right? And it provides an idea for something that could be done, that could be tested, and that someone could agree on that or someone could build upon, right? Like maybe you just say, okay, maybe we just tweak the experience requirements for now. Maybe that's good enough. Or maybe we just adjust the attack range a little bit, or the price, or the stealth delay, right? So like things like this, just like they provide great value to game design, discovery, discussions, and deriving like some result in the end, or no results. Maybe in the end you say, yeah, we don't want to touch it. It's strong, but we just accept the way it is. We do other things instead. But this level of engaging in this discussion is just great because it gives people the ability to engage in this discussion and add to this discussion, right? If all people would do this, exactly this, then, you would get all this collective of people discussing great ideas and hopefully or eventually reaching like a consensus that they can agree upon, right? And this is something that this level of design discussion is only something that I see with Stubiax at this quality. And so for me, easily, Stubiax is S tier, and yeah, without a doubt, for me. Yeah. Good. Then that was Stubiax. And next we have Ninja. We have a winner, Ninja. So Ninja is here, yeah. So he says, as pro player, my name is Mohammed, aka Ninja. I'm a pro 1 versus 1 player. Plus, I'm playing in high level in 50k plus air games plus FFA. I like to play all formats and I'm good at most of them. I would like to join you guys because I like the game and I want to see it active again. And I would like to help in the big changes that's happening. I'm good at testing stuff and I have some very good knowledge about the game. I played 0 Hour when I was kid and played it when I'm 20 years. So it's a fantastic game. My goal is to keep it going for the upcoming years for new people to try it and see how much fun there is. Okay, so when did he join? Also in 23. So yeah, he's also a newcomer. He's claimed to be a pro player. I've never seen him in any game design related discussions. Not in any developments. I don't know. There's really nothing I can say about him. There's no evidence that he has any experience in game design. He might be a good player, but he would need to demonstrate something, some passion for this job. So I don't see this. So I don't know. So it's E at best. It's E at best. I guess it helps that he's pro players, which is better than RVB. But he's not long in there, not long in the game. Same as Killer, who's also not long in the game. What about Memphis? How long was he in the game? Let's take a look at Memphis. Just in comparison, Memphis is from 21. When did he start to play? 2007. So Memphis is probably playing longer. So I don't know. Ninja could be E or F. I don't know. F or E. I would say, so if he's a new player and he doesn't play that long, then I think F would be very suitable. If he's playing for longer, I don't know about this. Let me see again his text. So I played when I was kid and played it when I'm 20 years. So I think this means he's now 20 years old. And I think he's not native English. His text is not professionally written, but it's okay. So he's young. So maybe he plays it a couple of years, yeah. I don't know. I would say placing him in F is probably okay. Maybe E, but I don't see him at D tier. No, somewhere down here, E or F, yeah. I mean, then you could put Killer into here as well in F. I would put him right where Killer is. Although Killer may be worse because he is trolling. Maybe we should swap this. Killer in F and Ninja in E. Because at least Ninja didn't do any trolling. Yeah, so maybe that would be more fair. So Ninja is pro player like Memphis. Killer is also pro player, but he is trolling. So I think that would be more fair. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Peckerman. 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 Let's take a look at Peckerman's text. There we go. Peckerman. General's online tester. I'm not the cream of the crop when it comes to FFA, team games, or 1v1. Okay. But I do know a lot and play at a decent level. I'm not particularly a developer, as I just mainly help around and test things for Generals Online and the super hackers and the mod communities. I played this game my entire life and keep coming back to it. I'm very conservative when it comes to the changes to the vanilla game. The game has a soul that needs to be preserved, as each mod has its own soul brought upon the vision of its creator. Yeah, so he does say he did play a lot of other games, so that's good. Yeah, so other strategy games, also first-person shooters, and he wishes to contribute. I might not be the best pick, he says. So he's talking himself bad. So he's a tester for mods and super hackers and Generals Online, and he's happy to test any changes, even if it's to make them live on the spot. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. He's demonstrating. He's happy to test, and I think I've seen him testing. Yeah, builds here. Early when last year I did see testing. He's testing Generals Online, so that's good. He's testing mods. Okay. Now he says he's not the best player, so he doesn't have probably the best understanding of all the things. I've never seen him in game design related discussions. He hasn't demonstrated any game design related work. So I would put him also down here at E or F. D would be too generous, I would say. Yeah, he's not as good as Goldfish, for example, or Stars or Sonic. These three are better players than Peckerman. I would assume. I haven't seen Peckerman playing. I just assume, but he already says himself he's not a great player. So and maybe E, because he is testing. So he's demonstrating a motivation to contribute. So that's good. And so I think E is fair. He's better than RVB and Killer because, yeah, he's not better player than Killer, but he's also not trolling. Although I have seen some strange Discord messages from Peckerman where I was thinking, why making these comments or questions or so? Yeah, somewhere between E and F, I would think. Just my opinion. I hope he doesn't take offense, but I just don't see him on the same level as Goldfish, Stars, Sonic. So I think it's fair to put him here into E. Yeah. 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 Maybe F. Maybe F. But the fact that he helps with testing, I think that's a big plus. This is something that Memphis and Ninja don't demonstrate. Actually, isn't Memphis also a tester for Generals Online? Hold on. Memphis? No, he's not. At least it doesn't say here. Maybe he is. I thought I saw his name in General's Online tester related discussions, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. Good. Then we have Exile. Exile. So Exile is here. Scripter and artist. Active member of General's community since 2016. Yeah, okay, so that is 10 years. He has participated in several tournaments and contributed to creative community projects. He did do an experimental 1.04 balance patch, okay, together with Jundi. Yeah, so that demonstrated some motivation and collaboration and insight into thinking about these things. So that's good. Which later evolved into General's patch, now maintained on GitHub. Yeah. He did help develop Control Bar Pro. Yeah. Yeah. Well, not directly. He was in a discussion chat. Like the original developers were FIS and Xeson. But yeah, he did do like he did do his variants for the Controller Pro, and they were very popular with players. Yeah, so yeah, this one was very good service for the players, for the community. That's great. And he did build a strong understanding of game balance from both technical and creative perspective. And he doesn't describe himself as a top tier player, but he does enjoy proposing thoughtful, creative solutions to balance challenges, always with the goal of preserving the game's original feel. And he loves Generals as it is. Yeah, I can attest to his passion for working towards making the game better in terms of design. He did engage a lot back in the day when we were discussing gameplay related changes. He did participate in a lot of discussions on GitHub, so he was very proactive. Also on Discord. As he says, he's not the best player, but I always found that he has good ideas and good insights, not at the level of Stubiaks with this amount of presentation and investigation and digging deep into all the data, but he certainly, I think, can be a great value, or is a great value to game design related work. Yeah, so I think having him in a committee could be or will be very valuable. Where would I put him? So I would put him in C, probably. Yeah, C. So he's not as good of a player as Dominator is, of course, but he did demonstrate that he can contribute to discussions, and is very easy to it's very professional in the way he discusses in good faith, and so I would actually rank him higher than Relax. Exile higher than Relax. But I wouldn't put him here on this level as Exile Rising Spalding. Yeah. So Relax does also have experience with patches. I don't know how, but he didn't. So Relax didn't. He didn't demonstrate the same level of passion to this discussion than Exile did. So I would rank Exile higher than Relax. So maybe we move Relax here. Yeah. And then we put Exile here and C. It could maybe even be B. Yeah. And then maybe move relax back, move exile into B. Yeah. Exile. Yeah, let's put exile into B and put relax back here. Yeah, so exile is certainly not a better player than dominator. Yeah, and not as good as these players, but he does demonstrate a lot of passion for this work. And I think this is something we can raise really highly here, because most others didn't demonstrate this in recent times. So Spalding did demonstrate it back in the day, 18 years ago. Rising demonstrated it a bit. Excal did not. Maraca, he says he does. I've never seen it, but he says. And Exile did demonstrate participating in these discussions and helping, with ideas and judgment calls, opinions, and he wants to be helpful. Will he always make great contributions in the way that Stubiax does it? No, not at this level. So I would put him in B, although I would say it's a bit more generous. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's okay. We can put him in B. It's just from my perspective. Like I can totally see working with Exile, and I did working with Exile, and it was always good. So I think he's a good contribution to game design committee. I think so. Yeah, of course. I've no bad things to say. I wouldn't put him into A tier because he doesn't have like the same level of skill as Excal, Rising, Spalding, and Maraca. Yeah. And he also doesn't have the same fortitude when it comes to game design like Stubiax does. But I think he's very formidable when it comes to this. And I think most of it is driven by his passion for this exact purpose. Yeah, and this gives him an edge over all the people down here who have not demonstrated this over the last year. Even though I can see Goldfish raising up to the same, yeah, if he engages consistently in these kind of discussions, yeah. Goldfish could be similar to Exile in this regard, yeah. Okay, I think that's fair. Put an Exile into B tier. Yeah. Man, how long are we in already? 2 hours. Feels like 3 though. So Marmo. Marmo is down here. Let's take a look at the description again. So he says, I would like to join the committee as a representative for the 50K community. For the 50K community. So it's very specific. So he's not representing many game modes, just the 50K. So that's not particularly an advantage, I would say. I've been playing and competing in 50K format for more than 10 years. Okay, that's a good time. I've extensive experience with its rules, balance, and issues. Okay. Over the years, I've won 2 of the biggest 50K tournaments. Okay. Which reflects both my competitive level and my deep understanding of the format. I have also a strong connection of the Arabic zero-hour community. Okay. And I'm considered one of the most well-known, respected, and trusted figures among 50K players. Okay. Because of this, many players have personally requested that I represent them, and I would like to be part of the decision-making to make 50K great. Okay, so it's very focused on 50K, but I think game design goes well beyond just that. It is, to my understanding, it's a very popular game format right now that many players enjoy, the 3 vs 3 50K Twilight Flame. But it's very niche. It's a very niche representation. We have other candidates here that represent a much wider range. Like Stubiax, for example, plays all the modes. Maraca does, Excal does, Rising probably a lot. Spalding does. Dominator does. So like all these players up here, they play all the things, whereas this player here is very niche. He hasn't demonstrated any game design related work. I haven't seen him in any game design related discussions. I haven't seen him on GitHub at all. So I don't know about his communication. He could be a good communicator. I can't say anything bad about him in terms of communication, but he hasn't really demonstrated anything. And I think like just focusing on 50K community is a bit niche. Oof, so I would put him E at best. But Memphis, for example, he has the advantage that he is playing all the game modes, right? If we look at Memphis, here, he's playing all the things. So that's a huge advantage, right? Ninja, what was Ninja doing? Let me see Ninja. 1 versus 1 and 50K air games, FFA. So he's also playing more game modes. That's good. So given this, I would actually put Marmo into F tier simply because he's very niche. He is pro player, but yeah, it's not really enough. Like game design, it requires much more competency than just being a pro player in 50K, I would say. Yeah, so I put him here. Yeah. So yeah. And he hasn't demonstrated any contributions, unlike Pekka-Man, who is maybe not as skilled as Marmo, yeah, or far from it, but at least Pekka-Man has demonstrated that he wants to contribute, right? So, and he does contribute, right? So it's a big advantage. But like if Marmo was contributing, then yeah, it would easily be E or maybe D if he would play more game modes. But yeah, we don't see any evidence for this, so I've put him into here. And he has no experience with scripting or anything, so I think F is fair. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see the next one. Radar. So Radar, I don't know too much about. He's pro player and map maker. Okay. Competitive 1 versus 1 and team games player for a few years now. A few years. How long is that? 2019. Okay. So it's not a long time player. I haven't been the most active for a couple of years now, but I really enjoy the game and have passion for it. I would love to see the game improve, and that's why I want to join the committee to get a chance to do this. I have some knowledge of how the game works in both formats, and I think I could contribute. I want to see this game succeed in the end. Okay, it is good that he's a map maker. Yeah. He's playing 1 versus 1 in team games. Okay. He's pro player. He didn't demonstrate any game design specific knowledge or work. I've never seen him in such discussions. I don't know about his communication skills. It could be good or bad, I don't know. Neutral opinion. Yeah, he hasn't demonstrated his passion towards this, so yeah, it's hard to say. E at best, I would say. E at best. He has an edge over Marmo because he's playing more than just 50K matches. But I also don't know, like E or F for Radar, somewhere there. Yeah. Okay. Next in line is Mikvari. Okay, so Migvari is here. Pro player. Hello, my name is Migvari. My real name is Zaif. 19 years old. He loves the game. He wants to do something useful for the community. Okay. It's his favorite game. I would like to join the 1 vs 1 10k and Twilight Flame 50k communities. Okay, so these are his experiences. Sufficient experience in these modes, whether through bugs, mismatches, or professional gameplay. I want to participate in order to represent his country or the Iraqi community. Okay. I mean, wouldn't he... It would be better to represent all players, not just Iraqi community, but okay, at least he has some community. Right? So typically it's better to serve everyone. Like, I wouldn't be in a position and just say I serve USA players, right? That doesn't make much sense. Like, you would want to serve everyone. But maybe he just says, maybe he means it in a different way. Maybe he would just wants to represent his country. Well, he does say Iraqi community, so he's very explicit about this. Yeah, 500 Iraqi players. I'm not fluent in spoken English. Okay, that's a disadvantage. He does understand it well in writing. I want to be part of this work. I can help by searching for bugs or by giving opinions. Okay, but this is more about testing. This is not about game design. Giving opinions on unit balance. This is more for design, yeah. Improving the balance ratios between armies so they are more suitable. Okay, so he didn't demonstrate any experience. He's rather young. He doesn't have game development experience, no track record of this kind of work. I've never seen him in this kind of discussions. I've never seen him on GitHub. I have seen him. I've seen him in like being in a game replay stuff, but I haven't actually seen him doing anything. So he was promoted to be in a team, but then I don't know if he did anything useful. So I don't have the impression that he would be contributing much to something. And so I don't know, maybe he could grow, but he's E at best. But maybe, I don't know. His English skills, I think that's disadvantage. He only wants to represent Iraqi community. Maybe he doesn't mean it that way. I would put him into F tier. I don't think he's a strong pick for this kind of work. So I put him down there. Yeah. Oh man, we have a lot of people down here. Everyone will hate me. Oh boy. Okay, and the last one, let's see who it is. Last one. Oh, Toby Rama. Who would have thought? Yeah, Toby Rama. Let's see. Toby Rama. 3 vs 3 50k Twilight Flame Pro player, Generals Online tester. Playing 0 hours since 2012. Okay, that is 14 years. On and off until 2019. From 2019 until now, I've been spamming. Okay, so very active in the recent years. Competitively and this format exclusively. Okay, so also very focused on this one specific format. I know pretty much every nook and cranny. Multiple time 3 vs 3 50k tournament finalist. Okay, and widely considered one of the top players in Twilight Flame scene. I was one of the first Generals Online testers and players. Okay. He knows everything about 3 vs 3 50k. And he is active, experienced, and able to translate theoretical updates into how they will actually affect this scene. It's pretty clear. Blah, blah. I love this game. I don't want changes to be pushed that don't apply, translate well into this format and end up causing a split. Yeah. Okay, so it's also same as Marmo, I think, that was very focused on 50k. He's also very focused on 50K. He does have the advantage, like Pekka-Man, to have to be a tester, for Generals Online. So I would say he's at least E. He could be D maybe, but I would say it's probably. I mean, the other guys, they didn't have testing, right? Pekka-Man was tester, but he was not so. Tobirama, maybe D. Maybe D. Would that be fair? Yeah. I would have put him in E, but since he shows passion for helping Generals Online for testing, I think that speaks for him. That shows a level of commitment that some others did not demonstrate. Yeah. Like, for example, Pekka-Man, he's not a better player than the guys down here, but at least he also demonstrated testing. So I would say it's fair to place Toby here into D. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah. Okay. If he wasn't tester, I would have put him into E. Like, his disadvantage, I would say also, is that he's only representing the 50K, like Marmo. But okay, it's good to have one 50K guy in here. Yeah, a bit higher. Sorry, of Marmo then. Yeah. Okay, but then we have Toby here. Yeah. Yeah. I would say he's somewhere between D and E. He hasn't demonstrated a game design work. I haven't seen him in GitHub game design related discussions. I did see him in one topic from Stubiax where he put some feedback, so that was good. Yeah, so I think he has we can see a glimpse of that. I think he can be of good value, but he would need to demonstrate more of it, which he has not yet. Yeah, so I think putting him here into D, I think that's fair for now. He would need to have to do more work to climb up here. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, like, oh man, I would be hated. Yeah, I would be hated. Oh man, I put so many people down here. 12 of them. Oh man, I will be a most hated player soon. Most hated community member. Oh. But I think it's, at least for me, it's a fair, this looks like a fair judgment call, right? Yeah. So Stobiax, without a doubt, is the best game designer that we have. Yeah. He's not the best player, but he's the best game designer. So it will be good to have him in all kinds of discussions, no matter what. He will always be of use. Maraka, according to his accounts, he has a track record of helping mods in terms of balancing, but not game design. So maybe A is generous for Maraka, but he is an expert player. He is able to communicate well, so he has an edge over Xcal in this regard. Like Xcal, he doesn't have this track record of being a tester for a Contra mod, for example, right? So that's why he's higher than Xcal in this regard. And yeah, rising on this level, Spalding, Exile here. Relax on C and Dominator. Dominator, as I said, he needs to do, if he can consistently engage in good faith discussions and be, the same way that Rising engages in discussions, or Exile. If he does that, he easily goes to B. Yeah, and if he does that very well, at the level of Maraca, he can also go to A level. Same for Excal. Yeah, he can also go to A. Same for Rising. I see that. I can see that happening. Now for Exile, it probably will be harder to reach higher ranks. He would need to reach like the Stubiak's level of, approaching game design, which will be tough. Yeah. Goldfish, I can also see going higher. Stars as well. Sonic, yeah. Toby, maybe, I don't know. But down here, it would be harder, I would say. They need to demonstrate more. They need to demonstrate more passion for this kind of work. Yeah. Like being a good player in 50K Twilight Flame is one thing, but to translate that into actually polishing the game is a completely different job. Like you can be good at the game. Yeah, you can dominate and defeat the opposition, but it doesn't mean that you will make a good game designer. Yeah. So yeah, I think this would be my rating. I have a lot of people here at the bottom. Oh man. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough down here. Very tough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's possible that I've been too harsh or too fair on some of them. Yeah. It could be. But it's just from my perspective. Yeah. Take it with a grain of salt. Someone else might have a completely different view, right? Yeah, like if yeah, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but someone else will have a completely different perspective on this. And my perspective on this is I'm working on the game. I'm actively working on patch since soon 5 years. I've interacted with a lot of people in this time in gameplay related discussions, in technical discussions, a lot of technical discussions. And I've done a lot of research, a lot of work into this field. I've done a lot of sandbox testing, not so much play testing, a lot of sandbox testing, research, discussions with the people, with Exile, with Stubiaks, with Jundi, with Komitu, with Jundi. So yeah, a lot of discussions with many people. I had a lot of interactions with people that are also listed here, with Dominator, with Excal, sometimes not for the better. Yeah. Yeah. But in the end, whoever makes it into the committee, I think they will be the elected people, and the elected members, they will have the backing of the community to make the decision. So no matter who will be there, the people will have to work together. Yeah. And yeah, we will see who makes it in. It's totally open, right? Anyone, like it even is possible that all people will make it in, right? It's totally possible. It's also possible that only a handful of people make it in. It totally depends on the votes. No? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I hope that, let me open this in a presentation mode and clean mode. Yeah. I hope that not too many people are offended by this list. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough because, as you can see, I've put a lot of people down here. And I like working with Goldfish. I think he's a really good tester, so it pains me to put him into D, but I'm just judging for the purpose of the game design. I put Goldfish at D, even though he's a good player in FFA, for example, and like he's competent, yeah. So maybe he could also be C, yeah. Stas is also a nice guy, yeah. I really value him. Sonic, I also have nothing bad to say about him. Toby, I also have nothing bad to say about him. With a few interactions I had with him, right? So it's just, I try to explain, like, yeah, maybe I'm totally off target. Maybe everyone is S tier, yeah, everyone's perfect, yeah. I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter, yeah, because it's an election, and anyone is up for election, and in the end, we will see what the people vote for. Yeah, maybe the people that I put into F will be elected. Yeah, maybe Killer. Yeah, the hamster. Maybe the hamster makes it in. Yeah, and will be a great committee member. I don't know. Maybe. It's totally possible that I misjudge the people here. Yeah, but yeah, that's my opinion. Rising. Yeah, I can easily see him go to A. Yeah, it would require him in entering more discussions. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to make clear I'm not so much judging everything based on the skill, on the skill or the ability to judge how everything affects gameplay, right? So obviously, like for Peckerman, for example, since he describes himself as not a great player, like we wouldn't expect him to be to be a great game designer. But he's not F because he does show passion. That already puts him a bit higher, right? So, like, you don't have to be the best player to go up the ranks. And even the best player doesn't automatically mean you're in the best ranks, right? So Xcar is not in the best rank, even though he is the best player. Yeah. Now, for people down here, they need to engage more in these kind of things and these kind of discussions, and then they move up, become better players, make good discussions, be productive. This is how I judge this. Yeah, because in the end, like, yeah, you can have great player or bad player, but only the quality of the contributions towards the work for figuring out better designs for the game is what will make the game better, right? Not how good you are in the game. If you can rush this one guy, it doesn't matter. If you can play fast and click fast, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You need to understand. You need to be able to articulate your understanding. You need to be able to have the commitment to do the work required, to do testing, and be open-minded to experimentation, and provide thoughtfulness. Yeah, put in the work. Yeah. Anyway, that's that's my view on it, and yeah, I think I'm the most hated guy now. Yeah. Most hated. Okay. Anyway, I will end it here. That has been 2 hours, 40 minutes. Oh boy. I wish you a great day or night. Until next time. Goodbye.